Ian Harrison, I will say during the middle of Supercross, when there was the potential of Chase departing the team, I mean, I think a big conversation point was who will Red Bull KTM get next to go alongside Aaron in the premier class. Those conversations began, and I will admit that going back 6 months ago, a little farther, I would never imagine you guys landing in the situation you did with having both Eli Tomac and Jorge Prado join the program. From your personal standpoint, where were you at in the middle of Supercross when those things started to unveil? Were you guys confident you would end up in this situation, or looking back now, are you also a little surprised at how things have unfolded?
With one of them, I wasn't confident, but we had started to talk with Eli, and with Jorge, I had no idea, honestly, and not till long into the nationals did that ever come to mind. But with a lot of these top athletes now, their negotiating period starts anywhere from March to May, and then that's when they start reaching out and seeing what potentially is out there, and what teams they want to go to or where they want to stay. So
Eli's situation is interesting because I think a lot of us saw early on that that he would not be continuing at where he once was. He had shared that interest in wanting to not only continue racing, but continue racing, potentially for multi-year, potentially full seasons, which was not maybe clear with Eli at this same time last year. So with him, how did those conversations begin? I mean, who approached who? What was like your guys' first contact like with Eli? Because as you mentioned in the presentation, it's a very unique situation to have him now because you guys have literally raced him, with multiple riders for years now. He's been at times your guys' main adversary for quite a long time.
Yeah, he has. So getting back to the beginning of your answer there, once you start talking to them and you see that, okay, there is some interest and there is potential, the first thing that we know, what I like to try and do is figure out the financial side and see if you can get that. And then it boils down to the motorcycle. And I think a lot of these good riders, they know which teams are capable of supporting them. And all the teams are really, really good and really close, And it was kind of weird, like in a way, it was such a cool thing with dealing with competing against Eli for so many years and then having the opportunity of potentially having him. You can learn so much. You can think, okay, what did he have that we always struggled to be competitive against him, and those are things that we'll learn now as we go along. And things start coming up and you start talking about bike setup and what they're looking for, and we got to get cracking on that right away, because some of them was like, as you see today, he really wanted to have a motorcycle that had the option of having a cable clutch. So I got on the phone right away to Austria and saw if this was a possibility, and they said, yeah, absolutely. And we started working on it. We started testing it for a long time over the summer with our test riders and preparing and being ready for it. And there's so many little pieces of the puzzle like that you start working on. And the more that you can see you're getting close to the finish line of having the financial side of it organized, the more you need to be prepared then for the requests he has for the motorcycle too. And having someone with him with so much experience, they know the areas they're looking for. So it's not hard. You don't struggle with that because they give you the information, which is nice.
Now, I know it's still early days with Eli. I know Frankie had mentioned to me yesterday that I think your guys' team photo shoot was the first day the entire team had worked with him. I know you guys have done some stuff with him, but that was the first day it was kind of all hands on deck with him. So I know it's still that early period, but also Eli is a professional in the sense of not a professional dirt bike rider, but a professional in how he carries himself. He's been through multiple team transitions, and he's always, I was going through statistics with him, and I mean, he is, from his Honda to his Cowie period to Yamaha now, it'll move into you guys, he has done a very good job when he transitions. Typically, he's not somebody that maybe struggles too much with transition. I think he knows what he's looking for. He knows how to communicate that. Compared to some of the other top names you've worked with, what is that initial period been like with him in terms of him communicating with you guys and how he carries himself and things like that?
Yeah, I think what you said, you got in a nutshell right there. He is a professional. I mean, he arrives at the track, he gets on the bike, and he, within 5 laps, he's up to speed and riding it, and he's not coming in, can you adjust the brake lever here, can you do this? He sets all that up ahead of time before he leaves, and then you nearly have to flag him off the track. The guy's riding, and his information is very clear and precise on what he wants. I'm not saying we can fix every need that everybody wants, but he definitely can point you in the right direction from what we've seen so far. So it's been nice. It's been a long time since I dealt with someone on that level, and I suppose it's perhaps even where he comes from. He keeps things simple and straight to the point, which makes it much easier for us to help him with the bike. Yeah.
Do you feel like that'll be a huge aid in basically narrowing the gap quicker, in the sense of, I would say everybody on the line, their primary competition is how do we beat Jet Lawrence, and Jet's in an environment where he's been with the same people for a while. He knows that process. So when you have somebody new come in like Eli, or if you had a new rider come onto your program, it's like, okay, how do we speed up that process so we can go against competitors that are very set in their ways? They know their communication. As good as Eli has been about that so far, does that give you a lot of confidence that it'll shrink up that time needed to get him ready basically for A1?
I think so. I think he, knowing what he's looking for, that eliminates so much stuff already, and not worrying about little stuff like what frame guards you have on or whatever the case. Just focusing on the big items that really make a difference. That seems to be what we've seen so far, and I believe it's gonna shrink that down. Now getting to beat Jet in it, that's still a tough task, but that's our goal, is to try and race with them and compete with them as best we can.
Now, I know I've been very Eli-centric so far, but of course the other exciting part of today's conversation, and back to what I mentioned before, like you guys had an outgoing top tier rider with Chase, and for any team it would be a challenge to fill those style of shoes. Like there's only a few guys on the market that are that capable, and you guys not only were able to secure Eli, but through some circumstances you guys have also re-secured Jorge. And while I know on the US side of things he still has things to prove, some building, he is of that caliber guy. No matter what anybody wants to argue with what happened in recent times, like Jorge has proven on the world stage he is that caliber of guy. So now you have 2 of them incoming. However, the bright side is Jorge has that prior experience with this brand, and knowing how much he talks about certain things with the bike. When he came back to you guys this year, jumping on Supercross with him, how much of it is, hey, we're just putting him on the package we knows it works, or how much of it was communicating with Austria, also going like, hey, what was it he really liked before? What is it he's really particular about? Like, how those conversations.
Yeah, I would say that's a 2-part question. So the first part about that with Jorge is he is very particular about his engine, about his clutch setup, about all those things, which we can completely replicate because we have all the information from Europe. So same thing, we got on the phone, talked to him, found out exactly how he liked his clutch, set the clutch up like that, did the engine like that, which we also knew in the past when he came to visit us for a while, when he did that pre-season in I believe it was leading into the 2020, end of 2024, or into the 2024 season. And then on the suspension side, because Europe don't have the same information on Supercross suspension, we just we used what we had learned from Julian and from Aaron and from Chase the year before, and the direction we'd been going, and even from our sister teams like using that to give him a base package, and that's what we did, and that's where he's been since he started riding again, and he hasn't touched anything, and I like that. I think he should really get used to the bike, work on his Supercross skill. I think that's the plan there, and like you mentioned, the guy is super capable. I mean, he has won multiple titles, countless races all over the world, and And we're just lucky that the guy wants to come and race in the US against these awesome riders. So we're just a part of that journey in helping him try to conquer his goal of being competitive in the US. So yeah, we were happy to have him back, and I'm also happy that there's a lot of information that we already have that we can lean on, that we don't have to, sift through or dig up to get him set up. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, and this will be really my main goal is to get him into Supercross healthy and get him through Supercross healthy, and learn each step of the way, and to learn from Aaron and Eli. Aaron has that great takeaway. When things go well, he's so happy, and when things don't go so well, he can let it go. And I think that's a nice character for someone to learn. And then he has that strong discipline that he can see the way Eli approaches the race. So I think for him, there's a lot to gain, and he's still really young. I think he's 24 years old, so he's got a long way to go. So we'll see what happens.
One question on that engine topic. So you have that information from what Jorge liked prior, so that gave you guys a great starting point with him. Eli coming in, another guy that is known for wanting a lot of power. Eli just literally wringing 450s necks out like most people don't think is possible. He's one of the only riders I've ever ran into that straight up says, oh yeah, stock 450s aren't fast enough. Anybody else says that, it's insanity. Prior rider, though, Chase also was known, I think, for liking a fairly stout bike. So where's kind of Eli fall in that conversation? Is it pretty close to what Chase had been running? How close to Jorge? Like, is Eli surprised you at all of what he wants, or what you guys delivered for a base package? Was he like, no, this is money?
No. I've been around a long time. I've seen him ride. I know what he uses, and it's very obvious that he likes a lot of power. So we started working on it, and just up until recently, we finally got all the bits and pieces together. We went and we did our test, and it seemed like every little piece that we gave him that gave him more power, he was happy with. So he likes a lot. I can tell you that. Like that, there's not many people who could ride that thing.
I was listening to your test track today. You guys have on your new layout, there's that in the far back corner, flat corner, and they wheelie over that first single and then 3 in. Very typical Eli. I stretch the throttle cables on that thing right when he wheelies over. The way he attacks that section, I watched him like, yep, this is, regardless of color of bike, this is Eli. This is what he does.
Yeah. No, it's amazing how much power he can handle. Yeah.
So last question for you. Due to some unfortunate circumstances, Juju's going to be out for, of course, a little bit while longer. And the way your guys' team is shifted out this year, you're on a little bit more of a 450-centric team. You have 3 450 guys to only Juju on the 250. Do you see any... because the 450 class has gone so competitive and so tough to win a title in, are you guys kind of basking in the opportunity to be able to focus on it and have 3 amazing top-tier 450 guys to really lead that program, develop that bike, and push forward? Because again, it's one thing for a factory level team to have one marquee guy. You have a guy who's won world titles, you have Eli, who's one of the most legendary, and then Aaron won a race last year. Like, you have 3 amazing 450 guys to guide that program forward. So I imagine it's kind of all hands on deck while you have the opportunity to really push the 450s right now.
Yeah, thanks for that. I haven't given that too much thought just yet, but there is some parts to it that is a little bit easier, having just 450 riders on the track. You getting to and from watching practice and all of that, you save some time. It gives you a little bit of extra time to work on the bikes. Generally, you're trying to cram everything into a small space between the last 450 race or 450 practice and the next 250 practice. So I think it actually plays in our wheelhouse a little bit, having them all on the 450, and then having someone, 2 of them that are really, really experienced in Supercross. So that'll reduce the stress a little bit, and it'll give us some time to definitely guide Jorge when he needs it.
Actually, one last one for you. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. Any comment on, we've seen content of Lucas Coenen riding Supercross. Any update on his situation? Have you guys gone to work with him personally? I imagine you guys had, if he's been riding Supercross, I imagine you guys built him a bike or something of that nature.
Yeah, yeah. The plan was all along for both of them to come down here after the Motocross of Nations, Sasha and Lucas. Sasha unfortunately broke his arm at the Motocross of Nations, and he returned home for to start the healing process for that. And we worked with Lucas, and yeah, he came out to the Supercross track, and he is an extremely talented rider. He picked it up very quickly. He's very, very young. It's amazing when you think he's 18 years old and he's finished second in the 250 world title and now second in the 450 world title. I mean, this guy has a huge future, you know. So yeah, we'll see. But yes, we did do some work with him, and it was fun. Yeah.
It's interesting because of his age and the result in the world title. One last people I can think of with that sort of roadmap is actually is Reedy. Because that's Chad, very similar, went and got, what, second in the world to, was it two Everts and then came here? With Jan de Groot?
Was it Everts or was it Tortelli?
Was it Tortelli?
I don't remember now, but it was one of those guys. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it is similar to Chad, you know, and that's why I keep saying, you know, we're so blessed to race here in the US. It doesn't matter where you grow up in the world. If you are an awesome dirt bike rider, there's one destination you want to make it to, and that's racing, you know, Supercross and motocross in the United States. So it's cool that we get to deal with all these awesome riders from all over the world.